Hello, hello, hello. Hey, Tim, welcome back. Good to see
Hi,
you
David.
again. And hello,
Yeah,
Let's Do
must have,
Video viewers. Uh,
I was going to say, it must be more than about 24 hours now, David. And we actually met
I
in
know
person, which was great.
it was
Fantastic.
so great to see you in person. One of the things we always complain about on our stream here is that we don't get to see each other often enough in person, and we just spent a few days together, and it was really nice. And the reason we did is because we attended Zoom Perspectives, and that's what we're here to talk about today. Viewers, buckle up. We tend to go long anyway. A stream should be 20 minutes and they wind up being 40 minutes. This one might be like 5 or 6 hours. We'll see how it goes. But Zoom invited, as they do every year, all of the analysts in the industry to come out and spend a few days and talk to their execs and learn about their strategies. And of course, it was a hybrid event. So they had about 30 of us there and another 30 of us attended remotely. And before we even get into, I mean, just amazing event, right?
Yeah. I mean, one thing that I think about here, David, is if they pay attention to their customers as they do analysts, then their customers must be delighted with the service they provide. And it does feel that they have their listening ears on. They rolled out fantastic people there. Most, if not all of the senior executives were there. It's really well done, both physically and I would imagine hybrid, because the way they sort out their hybrid Zoom events are absolutely fantastic.
Oh yeah, they're the they're trying, they're being the best at supporting hybrid events with their Zoom Events platform, but they're also the best at putting on Zoom events with Zoom Perspectives. That winds up winds up being what we talk about after the event, and they do treat us the way they treat their customers, and I'm hard to impress. I mean, this is how we roll at Let's Do Video. We have our swanky penthouse boardroom. It takes a lot to impress me, but yeah, this was quite the event. Even the start, when I took this picture, I was thinking to myself, Maldo, you're such a fanboy. You're sitting here thinking the room looks nice. They did a great job designing the room for this meet. And then I hear other analysts saying, this room's really nice. They did a really great job. I'm like, okay, not just me, right? Not just me. And by the way, I'm sorry I'm looking over to the left. I don't have Sam on Zoom's team with me, so I have to do my own video switching and the way my monitors are set up. But
or maybe we need to talk a little bit about production studio that's coming. That'd be interesting. But that picture there I took, which was a bit of a panorama to give you an understanding as to the room. But it was not only nice for physical attendees, but this is also set up really nicely for those hybrid events. So,
well, this picture you took shows a better job of that, I think, because in the middle of those three panels, that was our host. Our host was remote. So a way to make the virtual people feel like they're a part of it, if the host is one of them as opposed to one of us in the room, it really pulls it together. And one of those screens was used for bringing in virtual people who had questions, bringing them in on Zoom, and the chat showed up. I love when I would type something on chat, it would show up. Although I was a little nervous when there were two other analysts that are David M. So another David M and I would see David M has a question. I'm like, that's not my question, but it's a smart question, so it's okay.
Well, that's actually just talking about the whole Zoom event sort of setup here. One thing that I really liked was they had the QR code printed out on the desk. So
yes,
what you could do is everyone carries their mobile phones, and then they have their laptop desk sort of device of choice for typing up notes. But so what we could do was scan the QR code through the client. It picked up that you're in a live event, and then via sort of a companion mode, you could ask questions and chat through that companion mode, which I thought was absolutely fantastic. I love anything that's simple to use. Just scan a QR code and you're in. No more typing in of those long numbers to join a meeting or anything like that. It was just QR code in, ask a question, get involved in the chat, actually see a live stream if you wanted to. Instead of looking at the main screen, you could have a look at your mobile device. But that to me was really good.
And putting us all in the same chat brought us all together. Two of my favorite analysts, Elka and Rupam, weren't there, but they were there in the chat. They were part of the group with us. And also, I think it made it a better experience for those of us in the room, because sometimes I have a question, but it might be a dumb question. I don't want to raise my hand in front of Eric and ask even though I did. But but it's a good enough question. I want someone to answer it. So I had several questions. They were good enough for me to type into the chat using the QR code. But so yeah, we can go on and on, but I love the way they had that set up.
Yeah.
One more point about how they're trying to enable this for their customers. We were both excited about something that's coming out. What's it called? Zoom Events Production Studio. Is that the right name?
Mm-hmm. I
And
think so, yeah.
if anyone's going to be excited about this, it's me, because it's basically allowing people to do a little bit of what, not everything that Tim and I do in our Magic Studio here, but to up their level of production. So it's not just Brady, but nothing wrong with the Brady Bunch, but every webinar I'm attending is Brady Bunch. I don't just produce webinars. I have to watch them. And if Zoom customers start using this, they'll be a little more engaging, a little more fun. This isn't out yet, but I'm keeping an eye on it because I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, there is a video clip available, isn't there? Maybe we can paste it in YouTube. But
I'll
what
put
I
a
love
link.
about
Sam and Robin on the Zoom team made an amazing video about this, and I'll put a link to it.
Well worth having a look at, because for me, it's as easy as templates in PowerPoint. You know, you can sort of put in different gallery formats. The hybrid event that we had there obviously had 3 portrait style monitors at the front, and you could choose portrait style setups and drag in the individual video feeds into production studios, so you can have different presenters on different screens. You can then put different gallery views in and share content and brand it. And I mean, for me, that really will be powerful to build your own sort of studio in a box, I guess. I don't mean to undersell it, because clearly they've done a lot of work on it, but it's really great. It looks really impressive.
Yeah, and what I love most about it is, I think if I wanted to train someone just to do the basics on OBS, you know, actually I have a course on my website. It's out, you know, it's 10 videos. This you could train someone in 5 minutes. It's very simple, because it just does what you need to do. It just like you said, the templates. So when one person's talking, they move forward smoothly, the backgrounds, the basics. Okay, so let's get into, we're so happy about the way they presented to us. Let's talk about the presentation itself. Eric started out 3 focus areas: platform, vertical solutions, and AI. And I think that answers like the biggest question that we all had, the question that I don't even think we asked, because we were so focused on, you know, what Zoom's doing. But at this point, it's Zoom and Teams. And I learned one of the wonderful things about these events is I learned from other analysts. One of the other analysts showed me something that said only 3% of companies are just using one solution. Everyone's using multiples, and like 5 or 10 even sometimes. So a lot of people are going to be using Zoom and Teams. So it makes sense that the focus should be on their customers, not what does Microsoft do. But if I had to put you on the spot and say, if you had to choose between Zoom and Teams, what does Zoom need to do to be sticky? What does Zoom need to do to make that a hard question? And I think the answer is platform, vertical solutions, and AI. If that stuff is tied into my Zoom, I'm not going to give up my Zoom. I need it.
No, and there's various different sort of insertion points for Zoom. Traditionally, it has been meetings, live events as a companion to perhaps an internal communications solution, UCAS solution, Ring Central, Cisco WebEx, for example, or Microsoft Teams. And then you might have a marketing department that wants to do really good high value live events and chooses that platform for Zoom. As we go through this, hopefully, let's be honest, it's going to be an extended session today. As we go through our session today, I think when we start talking about Workvivo, which was a company that Zoom acquired 6 weeks ago, there will be another insertion point there, a whole new buying center that I think will make Zoom even stickier.
And to try to make people stay around, we're saving the Workvivo chat for last, because we both really like talking about it. And they kind of stole the show. They were a bit of, it's a cheesy thing, they were the belle of the ball for a moment there. They really, they really lit up the room. I mean, the analysts were like, oh, we get this. But okay, we're saving that for last.
One other thing, just on that topic as well, David, I mean, they did throw out the stat there that 35% of their enterprise customers, Zoom enterprise customers, have 2 or more services. So they're really growing their ARPU. It's not just about meetings or events or webinars. So there is a growing number of huge sort of groundswell of people that are now sort of, they've got the land and expand strategy, but they are expanding. And there was something like 147% growth in Zoom phones for enterprise customers over 10,000 users. I mean, that sort of stat is that's real bragging rights there. So it's not just about meetings anymore. It is this platform, which, as you rightly sort of alluded to, is one of their core strengths.
And I think that what kind of makes everyone who's might be worried about what's the future of Zoom after the pandemic and everything's changing. I'm not worried because they don't just get it. Like, Zoom meetings, even if they're still leading, even if they're still the best meetings, it's not enough because there's other meetings that are good enough. It's not the silver bullet that it used to be. It needs to be this platform. It needs to be other things to make me keep Zoom. They don't just get it. They're already there. They're not on the path. They're already there. It's happening. So, the exec team seemed very relaxed, as excited, enthusiastic as ever, but that nervous energy of the startup was gone. They were, they were relaxed, they were zen, but they were still just as energetic and enthusiastic as they've ever been.
Very present all the way through the event. I mean, it was amazing to have that access to so many senior executives there, and it felt like an extended Ask Me Anything session. These sort of, it was just phenomenal. I really answered all of my questions really well. Very privileged to.
I got to say that the most valuable part of it, we joke about they took us on a wonderful outing and the food and we stayed at the Four Seasons and all this stuff. It was the access to these people. And they didn't just come out for a panel and then get in their cars and go. They were there the entire time and accessible. And making a point to be accessible, lingering by the coffee station in case anyone wants to make excuse. I'm too shy to talk to you, but I'll go over to get a cup of coffee. And now I'm talking to the CTO of Zoom. That's how that happened. And these people are, Zoom has built a team now of really experienced top level execs. And yeah, it was a privilege to get to talk to them for the 2 days. I wish I could literally just go through each one and say, this is what we learned from this one, but we're going to be here all day anyway. But I mean, there were separate smaller sessions so we could really dig into to what each exec does. We had a lot of time with them. So let's move on to Contact Center. And Zoom did the impossible. They got me excited about Contact Center. I've been covering Contact Center. It's a big part of our space. The companies that I love to cover, it's. I've been excited about Contact Center from a business point of view. I understand how it's an important part of Zoom's future and revenue. I get that, but I like the toys. I like to play with the software. I like to, I care about the people who are using it and the value of. And by the way, this slide just to show. They're not newbies in CCAS anymore. Look at the development of their platform. For me, the pitch has been, okay, I'm a CTO of a company. I need to get 1,000 agents online taking calls in 2 weeks. Zoom has a platform. Oh, great. We already have Zoom. Zoom is easy to use. I know Zoom will be no training. I can get my people making calls. I can pay for it. I can get it licensed. Easy to use, easy to operate, get it up and running. Okay, that's a power play for me. I get that. It still wasn't fun for me until Amy gave us the demo. And then I thought of it from the agent's point of view. And I thought of the millions of agents and the people managing the agents who will be working with the software. And after a 30-second demo, I'm like, oh, I'm ready to take a call. Give me a headset. I'm ready. I could be an agent right now. And I don't think I'd be miserable. I always think being an agent's got to be a hard job. People yelling at you all day. This doesn't look too bad. It's so easy to figure out where you answer, where you click, where you get your information, where you send the person. Now I'm excited about Contact Center.
Yeah, and I think what stood out for me as well, David, is it's the same client. It's the same Zoom client.
Yes,
so
it's a tab.
That's fantastic. And that's the power of the platform because, of course, it allows the front office to take the call or the case or the sales call. And then if there's any issues, transfer it to the back office as well. So I might take a support call and I integrate with ServiceNow or Zendesk. So that's fantastic. But I want to then go out to David, who is a specialist on, I don't know, you're a guitar tech. You're a guitar tech. So there's an issue with my guitar and I want to speak to someone about the pickups. So I can transfer the call to David because David's available. Or, I could potentially use AI. And they're going to rebrand Sales IQ to, I think it's called AI Companion, Zoom AI Companion. So
that's right.
Can you imagine the power of the platform is, of course, you could take a abridged summary of the call, and then I could transfer it to David, and David could see with context what this customer issue is, rather than having to restate it. So this is the power of a single platform. So it's not just a bundle of apps in a suite. This is a integrated platform, and that is the beauty of it, is the way in which you can leverage it across the whole wide range of services that Zoom now offers.
Yeah, I can't believe I forgot to mention that, because it seems like the littlest thing, but it was mind blowing for me when I saw the Zoom client, the same Zoom client I have that has meetings, chat, whiteboard, all the little tabs. There was a tab contact center. I assumed it was a separate app. It's contact center. It's a whole thing. I assumed I had my Zoom meetings and I had my Zoom contact center. And why am I so excited? But think about the workflow. You're doing your job. You're in contact center and you got to get something to your boss or whatever. Zoom chat's right there. And you need to talk to them. Zoom meetings is right there. Oh, I talk about being a sticky application.
Yeah. And Zoom call, was it the toggle tax or the switching tax?
Yes.
Of going between applications and applications. And that's the beauty of a platform, and making it an integrative platform, leveraging all Zoom's APIs, because I don't have to have that toggle tax of control tab or whatever it is to jump between windows. Or what was I thinking about? I need to cut and paste from here and move it into here. Or actually I need to go from an email to a chat, or from a chat to a meeting, or from a contact center front end to something else. That's the power of the platform without having to jump between different apps.
Yeah, and we'll be talking about more when we get into the ecosystem conversation. I'm kind of using these tabs to organize our agenda here. I just throw this in just to show what a full 2 days they gave us of so much value. This is a customer panel with Gary. I love Gary. He's just a really fun guy, a great guy. But he had customers from a law firm, a chicken farm, and a big bank, and they took our questions. They went through how they're using Zoom in different ways, and it was really valuable. I know how I use Zoom. I know anecdotally things I hear on the internet. I know how customers that I talk to, companies that I talk to, but getting a deep dive, and the value of this session is, I can go to Infocom and find these same people and talk to them in the corner. But I only have my questions. I'm not as smart as all my other analysts. I got everyone else asking them these great questions. So bringing us all together and bringing these people in, it was amazing.
Yeah.
AI. They balanced the AI. We had just enough AI, but they didn't overwhelm us with AI. Teresa started off the conversation. She was great. Of course, we were all very excited to get into it. Blair had a great slide. Maybe I should zoom in a little bit. Get a closer look at this. Oh, one thing I want to take away is they're not just.
I feel like I should do this here over the top.
It does look a little funny. They're being very strategic about their AI and very careful. They're bending over backwards to be like, everyone thinks AI can be used for evil uses. Here's how we're protecting you from that. Here's where we're reassuring you we're not doing that. And there's another slide later showing more about how, when it's appropriate to use it for meeting summaries, when it's appropriate to use it to generative, if the sales is a big one, help you figure out what to say.
As well, David, wasn't it?
Yes.
They made a big thing about being federated. So you don't have to have a single LLM or have a single vendor for providing generative AI. So that was interesting.
It's powerful.
Though, I'm hoping
Options.
by next year, the buzz of AI will be over and it will just become a capability within our platform, because it reminds me of the days of WebRTC, when everyone's talking about WebRTC as a technology, and then it just, there we go. There's the federated slide there. Is that worth zooming in on, do you think, David?
Let's see.
So yeah, I do think that over time, AI will just become pervasive across across the platform, and we get all hung up about the technology and grounding and LLMs and generative AI and all the other buzzwords that we all throw out there as technology makes its way through into mainstream adoption.
And this is just if with just 1% of their data, what they'd be able to provide. It's a good point. And they're in our meetings, they're in our chat, and I'm assuming figuring out ways that we can opt in to share.
More than that, of course, because they've got email, calendaring, files, meeting transcripts,
contact center.
contact center,
It's a lot
Workvivo,
of
which we'll
data.
be talking about in a little bit.
Yes.
There's an awful lot of data to make life a lot easier for a lot of people. So yeah, there's an awful lot that you can benefit in terms of productivity. Sorry, a lot of potential there for sure.
Yeah. And I also wanted to get a chance to show me. Scroll up. This is their new CTO. I think he goes by XD.
Yeah.
So because people have trouble pronouncing Wei Dong. But he impressed the heck out of me. I mean, he's been at Microsoft for 30 years, and he's this new CTO, and he's one of those. I said I had one of those encounters at the coffee station. This is one of them, and of course I felt so awkward and dumb because he's so. And I said to him, I said, 30 years at Microsoft, and with it being a Zoom and Microsoft world now, this is at the end of the first day. I would expected y'all would be laser focused on Microsoft, and you didn't mention them once. And he said, "Oh, we're aware of." Not to paraphrasing, I don't want to quote, but basically what he said is, "Oh, we're very aware of what Microsoft is doing, but our focus is on our customers." Like, that's not just the right answer; it's true. I mean, it is true, and it's why it's working. So yeah, I'm a big XD fan. Ecosystem. Brendan was another star of the show. Even Dave Michaels was impressed with Brendan, so we know something's going on there. In the big panel, it seemed like a lot of questions went to Brendan, and it's funny. I talked about having how the exec team doesn't have that nervous energy anymore of being the new guys. Brendan kind of has that. He has that like he's just ready to start. He is good to go, and he is their CEO, Chief Ecosystem Officer, and if Zayas is agreeing with me that ecosystem is a big key, then I know I'm on the right track. And it's like we talked about before. If you're just using Zoom for meetings, and the boss says, "Can we use something else for meetings?" You'd be like, "Well, Zoom's my favorite, but okay, if you say so, boss." But if you're in Zoom Contact Center, or if you have Zoom's connection to Salesforce, and you're getting all your Salesforce information from within the Zoom app, you're going to think of Zoom as your Salesforce. You're going to think of, if you're using Zoom to connect to Trello and to OneDrive and to it was over 2,000 other apps. You don't think of all those apps as other services. That's all part of your Zoom, and you're not going to give up your Zoom. So yeah, ecosystem.
And if 2,000 is not enough, of course, you can build your own. So there's a whole developer ecosystem there that you can leverage as well. And that's bi-directional data and video streams and audio and everything else. So yeah, it's a very powerful platform. I enjoyed that session very much.
Great session. And we had a separate, smaller meeting with Brendan. He was showing us along the same lines of how, and these were just fun examples of how companies can be using Zoom's SDKs and Zoom's APIs and integrating with Zoom. What you're looking at here is it looks like an iPad. It's a tablet, and Dave Michaels has the name of the company up there. And you can see it has two little cameras, so it's able to do, bi-optic vision, able to give you a 3D effect. It's a 2D picture of a 3D effect, so it's not working right now. But when I was in the room, I was seeing Dave in 3D. He was seeing me in 3D. And the point of the demo isn't, we're all going to have 3D panels. The point of the demo is, this is amazing, we all need to use it. It was cool, but that wasn't the point. The point is, guess whose video they're using? And this isn't a Zoom call within their app. You don't see any Zoom here. It's the guts of Zoom. It's the Zoom engine behind it. So there's a lot of things out there that you just wouldn't think are using Zoom, and they're using Zoom. Here's another example. This doesn't show up as well, but these little glasses, you see that that's a mini screen. And you think, no way, a little screen that small is going to be of any value. No, there was a Zoom meeting on there, and I could see everyone perfectly. It works. I should assume it works because people have been using these for years, but I never really tried one. It really worked. And there's a camera on it so they could see what I was seeing. And you think, oh my God, if I'm a mechanic out in the field, if I'm a factory worker on the floor, a new factory worker on the floor with an expert, I don't even have to start. You get it, right? And of course, it was using Zoom. Let me cue this up. Let me cue up this moment. This moment. Okay, we're sitting in the room, and they bring out the Workvivo guys, and everyone's very curious, very interesting. And the Workvivo guys are very cool and very funny, by the way. And one of them immediately made a joke about, we'll be okay as long as Sheila takes it easy on us, because Sheila is one of our fellow analysts, and she's awesome. And she can ask really tough questions because she really knows her stuff. She's got a reputation of, you got to be on your toes with Sheila. So he made this joke about long as Sheila, and you had the mic in your hand. You said, "Yeah, don't worry about Sheila. You got to deal with me now." It almost seemed like your British accent faded away, and you became Brooklyn for some reason. You're like, "Yo, this is your problem. She's not your problem. I'm your problem." I'm exaggerating, but you literally said, "You don't have to worry about Sheila. I'm going to be tough on you." And like you said in this tweet, you challenged them because we've been down this road before. I'm talking too much. Let me.
No, I think I challenged them respectfully. It wasn't sort of boxing gloves or pistols at dawn or anything like that. But unfortunately, so Workvivo is an enterprise experience platform. Now, we've been down this road before with the likes of Yammer, that then became Teams communities in Microsoft Teams, that then became Viva Engage. We had Jive Software. We had Workplace by Meta. Jive Software sort of, I think, I'm not sure if it's been completely deprecated, but that was acquired and then has pretty much withered on the vine. But we have been down this enterprise social networking sort of route before. So there have been historically some limited success in that area. But I think where Zoom and Workvivo are now, so they made the acquisition 6 weeks ago, where they are now is looking at it from a different perspective. So this to me is your digital HQ or digital water cooler, or the way in which you can collaborate across teams and across organizations and send out, podcasts and live streaming, and specific, you can have content served in a different space. It's really, really quite an interesting development. It's like ESN has grown up, and the timing is perfect because the genie's not going back in the bottle. We're all looking at hybrid working. The pandemic, thankfully, is in our rear sight, but this sort of capability allows us to sort of give up on those horrible intranets. I'm not a big fan of intranets. I say it's where good content goes to die. It's one of those things where if someone makes an announcement, you're hoping that it flashes up on a banner and someone will click on it, rather than Workvivo's approach, which is it will come up in your activity feed and you can click on it and you're notified, and you've got app mentions and hashtag topics, and it's a very dynamic way of getting people involved. So for me, the timing is right. It looks very modern, so it doesn't look like a browser, and it doesn't look like Facebook, which all the traditional ones do. So I think this is a very exciting proposition from Zoom. One thing, David, that I really was interested in is Zoom will, that they've got their insertion points and buying centers within a large enterprise. But one thing that Workvivo will really sort of will allow Zoom to do is to sort of go into the chief HR officer and say, have you got a recruitment and retention problem? Have you got a problem with enterprise communications? The answer of which will be both yes, and it will be, have we got a solution for you? Because this is going to be another one that's going to become pervasive. So Workvivo integrates with all sorts of different types of systems out there, including Teams. So I can integrate with Teams. But then, I land and expand with Workvivo. I say, well, do you really want to use Teams for phone? Well, no, I don't. Well, have a look at Zoom Phone. Do I want to use it for live events? Maybe not. So there's a way in which Zoom can potentially marginalize Microsoft's penetration in an enterprise and grow their own. So for me, this is really really expensive. It's not really expensive. I don't know what the pricing is. It's really exciting. I think that was the jet lag talking there. Sorry.
And I look forward to, I think they hinted at it becoming another tab in Zoom, which of course brings the whole ecosystem together. There was a few moments for me that really made it click. One was a question asked by Blair Pleasant. I love Blair. She's one of our fellow analysts. And it was such a great question. She said, I'm not going to quote her. I'm going to ask it as I would ask it, which is 10 times as many words as she used. But I got Twitter open all day. I'm scrolling through that. I got Discord open all day. I'm scrolling through that. I got Zoom chat. I'm in scrolling through that. I got all these scrolls, and whether they're doom scrolls or happy scrolls, it's hard to get work done. Now, Workvivo, I'm in a company with 10,000 people. And what they said with Workvivo, everyone's on it. Like they have Kmart or one of those Mart companies. And it's not just, it's people who don't have emails at the company. Every cashier gets on it. So I'm going to be scrolling through Workvivo all day. And they explain that not everyone can post. They limit it. And when you post, you have to click why. There's like a relevancy tag or something. You have to click why you're posting it. You're posting it to give kudos because someone on your team did something great. You're posting it because whatever. It's something that has to be relevant. So you don't have it open every day. You check it twice a week. You open it, 15 minutes, you're caught up. It's more like a newsletter.
Yeah, and of course you've got those activity feeds where you'll be able to see hashtag topics or app mentions or breaking news, and you can limit the spaces and the activity and the communications. You can tighten it really down so it's only senior executives, or you can make it a free fall for everyone. Yeah, there's a lot of potential for stuff, stuff to be done there. Yeah.
And another thing was, as you said, and they demoed for us, it's not Facebook for work. Yes, it does have a feed, but it's a limited feed. And it has other things that Facebook doesn't have. It has all your work apps there. So it's a work hub. So that kind of helped sell it for me. And
we've got live stream, of course, capability there. We've got live stream with Zoom, live stream with LinkedIn, live stream with OBS. You can offer podcasts. So there are people on their commute into work on the train that might be looking through, listening to a podcast, looking at a live stream, looking at all the stuff on the activity feeds. It really is designed for the frontline worker, I think, with that mobile first, which is great because, there might be times when I want to have little snacks of work and I might want to look at things or listen to things rather than having another tab open on my PC where I get the majority of my work done. So yeah, a lot of flexibility here and the timing's right. I'm really excited and intrigued how this will integrate.
You sent me a link on the OBS thing, and of course, I immediately, anything OBS, I'm all over it. And yeah, it's really powerful. The way it would work is I have this set. Let's say Tim and I started a company, hired 1,000 people, and got everyone on Workvivo tomorrow, because we could do that if we wanted to. Why not, right? And Tim and I wanted to do a co-CEO town hall. And I would just say, I'm just going to stream it to YouTube, just like we do this. Just in OBS, where I click the settings box where you put your streaming, instead of YouTube, I would click Workvivo. There'd be a link to it. And I wouldn't have to redo my OBS, this exact same format. I would just click start streaming, and instead of going to UBS, it's going to our Workvivo. I mean, it's already there. The one other thing
Get us on the trial.
Oh, sorry.
Get us on the trial. I want to have a play with this. I really do. I'm really excited.
Look at he went from I'm going to be your biggest critic to can I play with it? And I'm with you there.
Well, I mean, the other thing that's interesting as well, of course, is it's great for external communities. So if you're a large company that has a lot of temporary staff or partners that you want to work with, you can have this as an external community that's set up. So you can have private spaces, public spaces, hidden spaces, external spaces. So you can have this going out to temporary workers. I don't know what it's like in the US, but what tends to happen is we get a lot of people on their student holidays working in shops or coffee shops or what have you. Fantastic. That's great. You can use your own device. We'll add you as an email. What's your personal email address? We'll add that. External community. And then when you leave to go back to college or university, fantastic. You exit that community. So a lot of flexibility. You've got Zoom real-time synchronous communications, and then you've got Workvivo asynchronous collaboration tools. So it really is bringing in this modern digital workplace. It's bringing it all to life. So yeah, lots of potential there.
Now, the first part, we just answered the first part, which is why we like it. The second part is why I think it will succeed, and that's the timing of it. Pre-pandemic, I would have said, no, we don't need this. Everyone has community at the office. There's water coolers. I've been, for years, part of what I've been doing is trying to help small remote teams to get that feeling of community that you don't have when you work at a big office. And I have tips that work for small teams like mine. Making sure you're on chat all day, having regular video meetings throughout the week so that you're face to face with your team. That's small team stuff. That doesn't work on an enterprise level. And when the pandemic hit, I thought, oh my goodness, all of these big companies are struggling with what I've been struggling with on a small scale, And I don't have any idea. I don't have any suggestions. I don't have any suggestions of how you take my little small team, staying connected, feeling good, happy family tips on a big scale. And that's what Workvivo does. There's a slide by Erwin Lazar, another one of my favorite analysts. He grabbed this slide showing the challenges that people are having with remote work. The number one is community culture. And how do you solve that? You can't say, oh, just everyone get on Zoom calls all day with everyone that you work with.
And John, who from Workvivo, I believe is the CEO.
Yes.
Is it John Goulding? Just to give you an example of culture. So we're at this lovely event in the beautiful redwoods and gardens of this fantastic place. He takes a video clip with an analyst, posts it up to Workvivo, and everyone's pressing like. So all of the people back in Workvivo HQ gets a feel for, John's really excited. These people are really excited. They get a real feel for what's going on at the event. So, that digital culture is sort of expanded across regardless of time zones. So, it's really interesting. And digital water coolers, there's no excuse for, unless you've got a great big steel and glass donut in Cupertino, there's no excuse to drive people back to the office for those water cooler excuses where miraculously two people, serendipitous sort of meeting of two people at water cooler generates the next great idea. Why not do it online? Do it digitally.
Yeah, I've been hearing this new expression, which I love, which is they got to earn the commute. And
yes.
Saying, oh, well, if you commute into the office, one of your favorite coworkers might also happen to commute in that day, and you might happen to have a casual conversation with them. That's not earning my commute. If the whole team's going to be there for a special meeting, or someone that I really need to be in the room with, that earns my commute. But the chance of maybe having, but even though I'm like, pshaw, chance of meeting, I still need to have those chance meetings. I just need to have a virtual way of doing it.
Yeah.
And Workvivo seems to be, it's really hard to do a virtual water cooler. We've tried so many ways. Okay, so actually something I don't have a slide on, but I just want to mention because it just popped to mind. This is just a little video I'm going to play. I'm not sure if the audio will come through, but another fellow analyst, David Smith, took a great video, just kind of a wrap-up thing. We didn't talk a lot about Zoom chat, but they have been developing it and obviously putting AI into it, a big part of the ecosystem. When we talk about all of those apps that are connected to Zoom, a lot of it's in the meeting itself. People don't realize there's Zoom apps in Zoom meetings, but a lot of it happens in the chat. And something that happened several times during the few days, whenever Zoom chat would come up, someone would say, I have a question about Zoom chat. Eric would interrupt and say, Zoom chat. Zoom chat's the best chat in the world. I love Zoom chat. And he was legitimately excited about it. And it was funny when we were all laughing. But I don't think he was just putting on a show. I think he's obviously been using Zoom chat from the beginning. I get the feeling he's been really hot on Zoom chat. Like he's been vibing with it. It seemed like there was something really there, and that excites me because I vibe on chat. I love chat development. I love the things we're doing with communities on chat. I think it's exciting. So if it has a little more of, it's only so much Eric in a day. It's only so much you can focus on. But if Zoom chat has him bouncing out of his chairs, I personally dig that, and I think it's a good thing for Zoom. All right, so should I roll the?
Hey, good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Good morning.
Thank you all. Thank you for coming to Perspective 2023 Zoom Analyst Day. Zoom
You might not be
Analyst
hearing this, Tim,
Summit.
but they are.
Cool.
That's the Workvivo guys. That's Gary, our host. Love Gary. Who's that guy? And perfect to end with Stephanie. Stephanie's on the analyst team, and she is wonderful. So anything to add before we wrap it up?
I don't think so. I'm very excited to hear what's going to happen at Zoomtopia. I think there's going to be some new announcements. We got an indication of roadmap, which was under NDA, but I have a feeling Zoomtopia, October 3rd and 4th in San Jose, will be a spectacular event. So looking forward to hearing about that in due course. It's not that far away, is it? October?
No.
Wow.
No. And you know, maybe a little biased. I mean, come on, they swooned us for a couple of days. We've been wined and dined. It's been really wonderful. But I've always been positive about Zoom, but I'm feeling more positive than ever. It's you know, I was worried about them having stickiness. I keep saying that, it's almost getting cheesy, but wow, have they answered that? And one analyst asked, you know, I remember who it was saying, based on your revenue, based on your growth, based on your success, based on your roadmap, you know, your stock should be worth a lot more. Why isn't Wall Street appreciating you? And it was like, oh, Wall Street's being cautious and everything. But I think that kind of comment really said it all. I am bullish on Zoom's future.
Yeah, I hope they continue to focus on the customer, focus on simplicity, and it's not easy doing simple things, making a simple license structure with all these different options, making a simple user experience so it's accessible, so users don't get overwhelmed or daunted by the amount of buttons, tabs, integrations. Anyone that knows me, they know exactly what solution I'm talking about with all of these tabs and Maybelline filters. Don't waste your time on a Maybelline filter. I know I've got a face for radio, but I certainly don't need lipstick and any other Snapchat filters added to it. But yeah, I think if they maintain that customer focus, that simplicity, which is hard to do, we shall continue to hear great things about Zoom.
Thanks everyone for watching. Thanks to the Zoom team for doing such a great job. And someone get Tim a Workvivo account somewhere. Thanks for watching, everyone.